Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, your host of the Leaders Route podcast. Today, I have another wonderful guest, a dear friend of mine that I get to know here in Kuala Lumpur in wonderful KL, Mr. Maurizio Rosini from La Bella Italia, beautiful country of Italy. And we connected about a month ago in a rather randomly. That's what I love about life and about KL. We're just chilling at the cigar lounge, and these two gentlemen started talking. I was with my good friend Snow from the US, and him and another gentleman started talking with us. And before you know it, we ended up spending the next 3-4 hours just chatting. And ever since we've built a wonderful friendship. And yeah, I got to know this gentleman. He's been doing wonderful things here, and he has a powerful story. And this is why I told him, listen, brother, I need to bring you on the podcast to share your story, because what you're doing is beautiful. And my podcast is all about giving a platform, is showcasing wonderful people with beautiful hearts and powerful messages to win. And you're a wonderful example of that. So today I have here my good friend, as I said, Maurizio. He's been doing a lot of things. He's from Italy, been living in KL, Kuala Lumpur for the past 4 years. He's a head marketing communication for a private French online university. He's also a model and actor, and is also a big fan, very deeply involved in the world of blockchain tech, and is collaborating on a couple of big projects on that. His tagline really summarizes what he is, what he stands for, and who he is, and that is helping, facilitating people on co-creating endless possibilities that they never considered before. I mean, how much more beautiful can it get than this? This is beautiful. So anyway, without any further ado, brother Maurizio, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. My God, I got goosebumps, Lorenzo, for the introduction. Thank you so much, really. And thank you for the powerful presentation. And I want to firstly really give you a massive thank for this opportunity. You know that I'm a big fan of your podcast, and I love the way that you interview and you conduct your podcast. And I want to share with you and the audience something that, you know, I'm quite struggling when people ask me, who are you, what you do? Because to me, define myself and put myself under an umbrella of defining who I am, it is something that I had to learn to cope with, even from a young age. You know, I got plenty of friends. Who are you? I'm a doctor, I'm an architect, I'm a teacher, I'm a sport person. But when it comes to me, I really still, at my 46, still struggling to define myself, because as you mentioned, for living, yes, I'm the head marketing manager for Alzette University, which is an amazing private French online university, and working education is just beautiful. Again, we facilitate people to upskill themselves. So it's a beautiful mission and a beautiful job, very interesting. But what really counts is we have many ways of expressing ourselves, and it depends according to the stage of life and awareness we have. So yes, it was a very good introduction, yours, but I believe that, you know, if tomorrow we're going to go on podcast, I might define myself in a different way. So it's a very dynamic thing.
We're gonna absolutely, totally right, and we're gonna dive deeper into all of that in this podcast. So don't worry. And before we even start, you even alluded a little bit to it. For people who don't know you, tell us. And as I said to you when we spoke last time, the kind of conversation I like to have on my podcast is to get to know you, the person, as a human being first and foremost, before the business person, the professional person. I want to have a look under the hood, so to speak, to see who's Maurizio as a person, as a human being first and foremost. So we're gonna do that. So tell us, for people who don't know you, Maurizio, who's Maurizio as a person, as a man, as a human being? Leave the business side and all that apart. As a person, who are you?
Wow, beautiful question.
Thank you.
So to summarize, I am a soul which is doing its very best to co-create its own heaven on earth, being very much conscious that we are here to fulfill a purpose, and our duty as a human beings, it is to find that purpose according to the gift that has been given to us. So in my early age, I have noticed immediately that I am, and I will be always driven by curiosity. So curiosity is the main factor. If I really should summarize my life in one word, it is curiosity. And through this curiosity of exploring, why are we here? Why am I white and I was born as an Italian guy? Why am I a male, not a female? Why am I here to do what? So that curiosity has been always pushing me to put my face, my hands, and my heart in every single adventures or opportunity. I got my massive slaps as well from life, because that's part of the game. But curiosity is still driving me so strong. Even curiosity about not only myself, but curiosity about others. What are they driven? How they spend their time? What's their passions and hobbies, and how do they perceive life? So it's a beautiful journey. It's a beautiful journey of life, and lately I've been working so much on understanding that there is no good or bad in life, and there is just a journey, and we are always at the right time, at the right place, with the right people involved, with the right activities. And as soon as we understand that, even though some big lessons, they are meant to trigger on us a way that we respond to that event and to learn and understand why that happened, not why this happened to me, but what do I have to learn out of it. That is a beautiful evolution. So this is the way that I perceive myself at this stage. And that is why in a young age, Lorenzo, I was born, as you said, in Italy, Padova, so northeast of the country, nearby Venice, just to give you an idea. I moved to the UK when I was 19 to study there, and London has been an amazing opportunity to truly understand that community is so diverse. It teaches you, if you're willing to learn and open to learn, to receive, that it does not really matter the accent that you have, the way you look, the God you believe in, the way you speak and what you eat. We are truly all the same. So the beautiful sense of oneness, and I was in my 20s, and that sense of oneness I'm still carrying it with me. And it's been really take me in living in many countries, good, amazing networking, have beautiful mentors and amazing friendships as well, and big lessons as well, as I said.
Beautiful. What a what a beautiful answer. And there's so many ways we can take this. But you mentioned one thing that I want to get your perspective before we even start, because that's a powerful question that I ask myself all the time, every day, and pretty much everybody I believe asks as well. And that is, you mentioned about purpose. Purpose. So for you, Maurizio, what is your purpose in this lifetime, in this body, in this time that you're in right now? What is your purpose?
Oh my God. Wow, Lorenzo, I got goosebumps. So again, I believe it's a very dynamic answer. If it changes according to the stage of life, according to the awareness we have, it always different. Many people say, I need to find myself, so I don't believe so. We need to find ourselves. We have just to embrace ourselves. We are always ourselves, even when we are going through amazing momentum in life, while we are succeeding in everything we do. Even though there is a downtrend, we are always ourselves.
Time out. What you said is extremely powerful. I want you to repeat that. You said we don't need to find ourselves, but to embrace that. I'm going to make a quote out of that because that is extremely powerful. Thank you for that. That's powerful. Sorry to interrupt you. Keep going, because that was very powerful.
Rather, you can interrupt anytime. Don't worry. Sorry. And it's something that I did realize recently, that we are always ourselves, again, once either in uptrends or downtrends. The only difference is the way we learn on how to respond to that situation. So what is helping me, what has been taught me actually from different mentors from different countries, is to detach myself from from that moment in time, well, either I'm succeeding or I'm, really failing brutally. And to see this with tenderness and compassion, something that I want to really share is one of the most beautiful things that I'm learning. And at times I succeed, at times I still have to work on it, is to be my best friend, to be truly compassionate, to be truly there for me in both ways, with the good ones, or let's label it good ones or less good ones. And that is helping me massively to really to be okay. Because one of my struggles that my ego, which I need to love because it's there for help us, but my ego is very strong. And my ego says that at my age, I should own properties, driving Porsches, being, I don't know.
Ferrari,
and I'm not there.
Lamborghini.
Yeah, Lamborghini. And I'm not there. And that what has been causing me a lot of frustration, a lot of anger, my brother. And it took me a long time to metabolize that I'm okay, the person that I am right now. I'm okay for what I have right now, and being grateful for all the opportunities and amazing life experience that I'm having, and I'm open to receive new ones that I'm not aware of, but something amazing is on the way. So it's a lot of knowing and learning how to manage the way we respond, not react, but we respond to situation. And the only way to do that is to calm, get still, and talk to ourselves. Have a very good inner chat, inner talk.
Love that. Love that. This is beautiful. Wow. Powerful. Now, I'm going to ask you a series of rapid fire questions with short answers to further get to know you better. Ready?
Why? Always.
All right. What makes you happy as a person?
Wow, what makes me happy as a person? First things that come up was connecting with others. That moment of connection with a stranger, they are not stranger, but let's call it stranger, where you got the sense of empathy, understanding, with a smile, with a shake of your hands. That moment of connection, to me, is pure love. And to love someone, you don't need to have sex with that person. Could be a guy, could be a girl, could be a stranger. But in that moment in time, the sense of love, understanding, and oneness with another person, it's like having $6 billion in my bank account.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, that's a perfect way of putting it. Having $6 billion in your account. Yes, that's good. Now, what makes you smile?
What makes me
Smile.
smile?
In a good way.
Yeah, sure. When I see tenderness between people, when I see love, when I see how others are trying to do their best, and I see them with make me smile, like it makes me smile my heart, really.
Love that. Speaking of that, that's a perfect segue. Let's take the happiness factor a couple of notches higher. What makes your soul come alive? What sets your heart on fire in a good way, in a positive way?
Wow. When I'm contributing to evolve myself, to achieve myself, and on the way, when I'm facilitating others as well to see or smell or perceive opportunities of way of being, of way of perceiving life that they've never considered before. And I've noticed it, that that's my gift, brother, that doing, just living my life and sharing through the social media what I'm doing, I see that many friends or people that are following me, they say, Mauri, when I see your stories, your posts, your videos, I always feel good. Your voice, your smile, the way you perceive. And I try not to abuse this power, because I would like to talk about the men's circle. For me, vulnerability is very important. So I try not to be fake on this journey, and to share even my struggles, my insecurities, my demons, my shadows, to share that. People think that most of the time I go all my shit, sorry my French, all together. Actually, I'm going through a lot of insecurities. I'm going through a lot of challenges, and My soul gets fulfilled when I'm able to support even others. Myself, I'm learning myself first, but then even others to, to evolve, let's say.
Beautiful, beautiful. Love that. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, what makes you sad and angry?
Oh, wow. I love your questions. It's the same. Okay, what makes me sad and angry? When I see injustice in terms, when I see people taking advance of, for example, uneducated people, when I see, you know what I mean? Okay, let's look like that. I'll give you an analogy. I love rugby. Okay, I did play with my brother for 12 years rugby, and I
Wow.
will thanks for immensely my father for introducing me to that discipline, to that sport. You know, I love rugby. There are 15 people each team, and each of everyone, doesn't matter the size, the body type, they have their own role. And rugby is very true. It's truth. It's like life. It's a teamwork. It's all about strategy, planning. It's very elegant. It's exciting. It's beautiful. At times, it can hurt you. But once you have the ball and you have to carry the ball forward, there is you against another person. And you cannot lie. The strongest one wins. But it's a fair duel. It's a fair way of competition. And when I see individuals or companies that they trick people, they take advantage of the ignorance of others. It feels very bad.
Mm,
That one makes me feel very uncomfortable. Or the minorities when they are not respected, that kind of feeling is very difficult to digest. I'm learning, and I'm learning that the world is perfect. Unfortunately, you see, there is a lot of judgment, but the world is perfect the way it is, with the wars, with the past, the worst of the things. The war is the way it has to be. So I need to accept in it, and I need to understand what can I do in order to change first myself, my inner world, and consequently, that's the big revolution I can do, is to
beautiful.
be real with myself and then support others to do their own inner work as well.
Absolutely. You mentioned sport as an analogy. For me, sports and travel have been the two greatest schools of life for me. I learned every value I've learned in life because of sports. I played football. I grew up in the south of France, southwest, which is called rugby country, as you know. So for me, when you see that, for me, sports is also almost like a choreography. Everybody works, just like I said, everybody in their own role. Everybody performs at the same time, just like a finely tuned choreography. Everybody knows what they do when they go ahead. So that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Now, what scares you?
Wow. My God. What scares me? What really scares me, it is not being able to fulfill the purpose in this life.
Mm,
And what scares me is get to a point where age-wise, where my body, because you get old, I don't know really when it's going to be the last day of my life, but assuming that I will get old, get to a point that say, Mauri, you really did your best, but you could have done more for yourself and for others. That scares me. So, and that's why I go back to the curiosity part. The curiosity is amazing because it's driving me to experience, and I know that you can resonate with me because you've been doing so many things in life. But to be scattered uh, can be dangerous because you end up with nothing in your hand, trying
oh,
so many things. But then if you don't pursue something for the long run, you might end up. I might end up saying, "Wow!" At the end of the day, I've been doing many things, but I've never pushed something over the limit. I've been always jumping from one thing to another. It scares me a little bit.
I'm totally with you because I used it to be exactly like that. Yes, absolutely. Now, I'm going to ask you now two questions that are very related, but these are some of my favorite questions to ask, and because they say a lot about a person and get to really know the person on the core and their journey. So now the first one is, What is the one thing that you used to value that you don't value anymore? The one principle, the one thing, whatever it might be, that for you was very important before, but now you don't value it anymore.
My God, it's a good one, man. I'm gonna take note for my interviews. Okay.
Absolutely.
Um, okay. So in my young age, around 17th, I was heavily involved in Italy in politics. So I was part of a really left-wing. It was not a party; it was more like a group, and we are under the. I mean, super anti-fascist. Okay, so at the time there were a lot of Nazi skin in my hometown,
Wow.
which is my hometown is famous in Italy because there's a big university. So in the 1970s, when in Italy there was like really armed group of fascist and left
Wow.
side. Um, Basically, long story short, I was one of the leader of this group, and we were literally going around and hunting Nazis and physically beat them
Wow.
because at that age, I was translating my way of doing something good for to the world to physically fight these guys that they were using as a way of life, being racist, being giving discrimination because you might be black or you might be Muslim, you might be Chinese, Asian, or gay or transgender, whatever. And I thought that to change the world, you need to be use the violence, okay? And actually, in certain way, to be honest with you, the big revolutions, look, the French Revolution, they always go through I won't say violence, but there has to be some powerful physical movement that to change things. But what I can share with you guys now that my world, I am changing the world right now since I embrace with awareness and consciousness very deep, very daily, deep, super powerful inner work every single day since already 5 or 6 years. That I'm changing the world around me much better now without using, any kind of violence. And that's something that I'm not embracing anymore. I'm not saying I'm an angel because if I get attacked, I will respond. But surely I won't use as an instrument violence in the first place to affirm that we can change the world. I use love now, compassion, and I'm not gonna sound hippie or woo woo, but it's what I'm doing right now. So I won't embrace anymore that kind of mindset that you have to beat somebody up in order to make him changes his mind.
Beautiful. What a powerful example you shared. Thank you for sharing that. Now, the other side of the question is, what is one thing that you did not value before, but that now you're valuing?
Oh, oof, there are many, to be honest. There are many because once you start to work on yourself and you start to see your patterns, is acceptance. Acceptance, which I'm not still there yet. As I told you, I still live my moments of frustration because I would love to be in a different stage, but I'm still not there. So acceptance of myself, I'm working on this. Acceptance of myself, self-love, compassion, it's very, very important. Very important. Those are the three things that I'm embracing now really strongly because I've seen that they are really changing myself and the world around me.
Beautiful. Love that. Thank you for sharing. Now, you love traveling, right?
Yeah, I do. I love, yeah.
All right. I'm going to take you now down a different type of traveling down memory line. Remember when we were kids growing up, people around us, parents, family, teachers, friends ask us, so Maurizio, what do you want to become when you grow up? What was your answer when you were, say, a young boy to that question, say 5, 6, 7 years old?
Wow. Interesting. Can you believe that I was thinking about it?
Wow.
And I think not recently, but I can't really remember. I cannot recall what was my dream at that time. I can't recall it. Probably I was saying something, maybe firefighters or something like that. Not police, not a policeman for sure, but maybe some. No, never wanted to be a policeman.
Why?
Probably something like a firefighter, something like that. But to be honest, I can't recall much.
Why not a policeman?
I've never been a fan of police because,
Okay.
as I said before, the idea of having someone controlling the society for the way that the human being has been building up the society, um, it sounds good. But the point is, as I said before, big humans, once they got the power, most of the time, not always, but most of the time, they tend to abuse it. And
Yes.
unfortunately, worldwide, police, they abuse their power for the sake of their own return as individuals sometimes, or as the sake of protecting regimes. Look what is happening in Iran. The police are fucking barbarians, and okay, that is difficult for me, for example, to be compassionate, could be understanding, because if I was one of the guys fighting the regime, and we will get one of those policemen that has been, doing crazy stuff to the girls in the jail. In that case, probably would be very difficult to manage myself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, growing up, what was your relationship with school? Did you love school or did you hate school?
Oh la la! Oh man, this is interesting. I'm gonna take note about your question. I'm gonna share mine. You share yours.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think I never had a bad relationship with school. I never exceed, but I was always curious again to learn. But I was not a guy like spending hours on studying on. No, I've never been like the first of the class when it comes to study. But I was always very good on connecting with the students and create a bit of groups. Let's say I always had a bit of leadership.
Oh, wow.
Unconsciously.
Beautiful. Beautiful. What was your favorite subject in school?
Probably was geography. I really
Wow.
loved it,
Mhm.
and design.
Beautiful. Design, like being artistic and creating and drawing.
And more technical design, like buildings. That's
Ah,
why
okay.
in the high school I studied interior design.
Okay. Beautiful. Was there any subject you could not stand that you didn't like at all?
Mathematics, I don't dislike it, but sometimes was very difficult for me to grasp it because it's very rational, and I assume, especially in a younger age, I always gave room more to my heart, so to my unrational things, so my feelings. When it comes to
Creativity.
math, yeah, math is a little bit, sometimes more difficult to grasp.
Was that because you had a teacher that turned you off? Because that happened to me. I had a teacher that completely turned me off from math, and after that, I lost all interest in math. Or was it just because you just couldn't resonate with math?
But probably I couldn't resonate much with math. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Now, moving forward, what was your very first job?
Oh my God. My very
And
first,
sorry, and do you
okay.
remember? And do you remember how much you were getting paid for the first job that you did?
Okay. Wow. The very first job, I was still in high school. And
Mhm.
during the summer vacation, I moved to Northeast Italy in the mountain, the Dolomites, and we were harvesting apples.
Okay.
And I remember I was in the room with one of my friends, waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, which was wow, 5 o'clock in the morning, super cold, going the apple fields, and with a ladder, putting on top of the trees, climb the ladder and get these beautiful, massive, super juicy apples. And I remember that the owner was a very tough peasant, and was quite harsh with me, saying that I was not enough, I was not too fast. on doing. So I had a little bit of a challenging experience. I was earning, okay, at that time, I think was 10,000 Italian liras per hour, probably $5 at that time per hour. So very little money.
Wow, awesome. Now, when you were picking up those beautiful apples, did you get any temptation to just eat one?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And I was biting them so juicy. And I was saying at that time, if God exists, I was totally not believing in anything at that time. Zero religion, zero nothing. But I was always saying, if God exists, the apple is the proof of it, because it's beautiful, rounded, so tasty, and the texture is nice, the taste is nice. So I say, wow, this is a proof of God.
Wonderful. You mentioned something else that I'm curious. I want to know more about. How did you get into rugby? Because Italy is not a country of traditionally of rugby, more like football. You're the first Italian I've ever met that is not into football but is into rugby. So why rugby?
Rugby is because of my father. I got a brother 1 year younger, and nothing. I don't know why. My father one day says, "Guys, why don't you go and try to play rugby?" So we went, and it's been an amazing journey. You know, there was so much joy on playing, so much fun as a kid. And then, you know, you go on the floor, you get dirty, and there is a beautiful community. So we start to have a lot of friends. And you know what? Very important, I didn't share that before. It teaches you to be part of a team. It teaches you that you can succeed. You're going to succeed in life, but without forgetting that in one action, you're going to be other people involved. So once you carry the ball, you got the power in that moment, but you always look around. If see one of your mates is around, and once you get tackled, you give the ball away. So you give, you know, and once you get to score a try, it's a teamwork. And that's life, because if we assume that we can go by ourselves, we can be by ourselves, we can be faster, but in a team, we go further. So it's a different approach of life. And very important, which is a thing that I shared with you in our conversation before. One of the big things that I'm learning, that I share with you, and I'm learning not to give away my power as well. What I'm trying to say is this: being aware that we work in a team. The team is the community, but being a giver is fantastic. But without forgiving that we do have to fulfill our purpose in life. And it's not selfish. And it's something which is taking me time to digest, but I'm really paying attention that I come first. And as soon as I stabilize myself, then I can share with others as well. Because if I just give out everything, I will empty my cup. And I'm not here, and I cannot fulfill my purpose in this life.
Totally, absolutely, absolutely. And I couldn't agree more with you that sports, especially team sports, are a perfect allegory, perfect school for business, for life, for everything. Just like you said, alone you can do certain things, but to get to the next level, to win, you need people around you, the right people, where every person knows the rules, their responsibility, position, and do it for the interest of everybody. And together we can all win. So I'm totally with you on that one. Now, let's move forward. Let's talk about your path from the moment you left school to now. How would you describe your path? Would you say your path was pretty much straightforward? Once you got into one lane, was smooth sailing? Was it like more like a turns and twists, like a roller coaster?
You did it. It was absolutely a roller coaster. And yeah, yes, a roller coaster. And I've seen clearly. It was curious, you know, because in my 17s, I always had a very strong uh, consciousness. Even in my young age, I was, let's say in my 17s, I was looking the guys or girls in their 12, 10, or 14 years of age. I was saying to them, enjoy life, because you are so young. And I was 17. You're so young.
Wow.
You're going to get more responsibilities further on. So enjoy the things of playing with friends, because then when you're going to be in high school, you're going to have a different environment. So in my 20s, that I was saying to myself, Maurizio, you are still very young. If you turn back, you cannot still see the journey that you are going through. But then when I reach my 30s and I become an adult, I turn back and I start to see clearly, and I reply to your questions, my patterns. And in my 40s, mid 40s now, I'm working on those patterns. So yes, it has been an amazing roller coaster. I've been truly, guys, touching the sky, the heaven with one finger. And for a certain stage in my life, I was there. I was really manifesting beautiful things in my life, and then I start to make choices that it really brought me down to earth and from earth to hell. So it was like going up, and then destroyed everything, and then like a phoenix, rebirth again. So it's part of my journey, and the person that I am right now, it is because I consciously decided to smooth this kind of roller coaster, not to live not an exciting life, still living a beautiful, exciting life, but those up and downs, they are too much energetic consuming, and life is meant to be a journey. And a good sailor, as they used to say, become a good sailor on with a rough sea. I believe that doing a proper inner work, we can smooth a bit the ups and downs. And when the things that go in life very well, we have to be grateful for that, knowing that it won't last forever, getting as much as possible, but being okay that you might go down to a different path. So again, I go back to the acceptance of life is made of moment of more smooth sailings and moment where you are super scared, you feel very lost, you start to lose the faith of the things are gonna get better.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, you mentioned ups and downs, high, very highly high highs and very low lows. So there's a saying, that's a perfect segue. There's a saying that says, change your story, change your life. And by story, I mean what we tell ourselves in our head all day long. So when you, Maurizio, you were at your lowest, at one of those lowest moments, how did you change your story to change your life? Did you use did you use the help of friends, family, mentors, books, videos? Tell us a process that you use to change your story internally to change your reality externally.
Oh, so I was mentioning before in my 20s, I always felt special. Be careful, not better than others. But I was calling in Italian stellina, means little star. I was feeling here this kind of energy. I was feeling there has to be something more, and I realized lately that I was um, co-creating an amazing reality around me, because every single things I was about to do, perceive, deep down, not here, but in my heart, in my gut feelings, I knew it was going to end up well. So without naming law of attraction, because I had no clue in that stage of my life, I was so confident in myself that everything was going like smoothly. I had beautiful experiences. Then from the UK, I went to Japan. I stayed 1 year in Japan, and I was succeeding at work. Then I moved back to the UK. I went to Colombia. In Colombia, for some X reason, I end up modeling, and I become a very famous model in Colombia because I was with the right people, and without even wanting to, I experienced what does it mean to be a bit famous. So I was interviewed by the most popular TV channel in Colombia. I was publicly recognized. Yeah, I'm sharing this with you because I was manifesting that, but I wasn't looking for that. And then in the older age, when you start to read books, workshop, you want to change your life, we put so much pressure on manifesting things and they don't happen because, again, we put our human side, which is fear-based. I need to manifest this, I need to get more money, without actually being be instead of doing. So in my 20s, I was manifesting amazing things. Then I started to make different choices, and I totally destroyed all the good that I was able to co-create. So I get to a point in life where I said, I felt like being in a room where there was no light. And I said to myself, Mauri, you got to find a way to switch on the light again. And I literally went to Google and say, how can I change my life? And
Wow.
of course, the first mentors, so the most popular ones, on YouTube, Tony Robbins and all the most, popular ones, I start to literally start to listen hours and hours and hours and hours of self-help podcasts, videos,
Sure.
reading tons of books. And there I started to understand that, again, we don't have to find ourselves. We have to release traumas. We have to peel like an onions all the insecurities, all the traumas that we've been going through in life. It's a time to just go back to the source. So to more than learn things is to unlearn certain things that has been limiting us. So that's the way I would describe the journey and why I started this journey. And I want to finish saying something. If I should give a piece of advice to a newborn child, and just
Wow.
to say to him or her, will be pay attention of your inner talk. The very first step of awareness is paying attention of our inner talk without judgment. The first step is just to pay attention. Then secondly, we realize how much we judge ourselves and others, how much harsh we are with ourselves and others. Second stage, once we are trained to listen and pay attention to our thoughts, is to say, okay, now when I perceive one of these negative thoughts, I just detach from them and I observe them and say, wow, I say to myself, wow, interesting, Maurizio, interesting that you think so. This is your ego. So you detach from your thoughts. And doing so is so powerful because we understand that we are not our thoughts. We are not our emotion. And once we learn to detach from them and not to embrace them, we start to have a better quality of living. So if I should share some tips to the audience, it might help. Start with to those steps. Aware of your thoughts, and when you are good on being spotting your thoughts, just detach from them,
Wow.
and just notice them. Third and final step, then you shift them. So when
Beautiful.
you have a negative thoughts, you say, okay, I can see you, I can feel you, I acknowledge you, but this is my ego which is talking. I believe, who am I to judge this person? Why am I talking like this to myself? So doing so, I notice that the quality of living is much better.
Wow. Powerful, powerful, beautiful. Love the three steps. But there's three things you mentioned that I really want to get deeper. You mentioned living in Japan, living in Colombia, but even before that, something else you mentioned I really want to further explore, and that is you said you manifested beautiful experiences, beautiful things in your life, but then you destroyed them. How did you destroy those? What was it, through yourself negative talk, or was it because, tell us what happened? How was it destroyed?
Also, being curious, as I said, I always wanted to experiment many things in life. So there was a time that I start to, let's say, hang out now with the right. I was young in my 22, 23, hang out with the wrong group of people, wrong. I mean, with people that probably I was not supposed to hang out with. Some environments as well, and I've been conditioned by those certain behaviors. So all the good that I was able to co-create then has been took away from me. I believe for my good. Because I had to learn that lesson, and I can perceive now. I can perceive now that here in beautiful, amazing, loving so much Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I'm I'm in the way to co-create an amazing heaven, but this time I'm not gonna fuck it up. I mean, I learned a lesson, and I'm here to build up steadily. Even though I'm working hard every day to do that, but I'm okay to wait the right time and build up a steady, beautiful foundation for the next amazing chapter of my life, which is about to start. I feel so.
Beautiful. Love that. Love that. Now, Tell us about Japan. What took you to Japan?
Wow, Japan came out of the blue because when I was studying in the UK, I went for a solo travel with my backpack. I was 21, I guess, to Thailand. So
Wow.
was incredible journey, you know. I remember I was such a kid. I came to Khao Road. I see all these people partying, and I was by myself. I was feeling so lonely. And I was saying, Mauri, are you gonna be lonely for the rest of your life? You know, I was a kid, but after a week, I started to meet people, interacting. So my journey started. And when I was in Copenhagen, I met this beautiful Israeli girl. She was just coming back from Japan. So we start to date each other. And she told me, Maurizio, I think you have a very good characteristic as a salesperson. I just came back from Japan. I've been there for 1 year. There is this company which is looking for salespeople. They sell jewelries. It's an Israeli
Wow.
company. I say, wow, interesting. She gave me an email. I sent an email to this gentleman, Yotam. I still remember the name. And he told me, yes, okay, you can come over. Go back to Bangkok, get a flight to Osaka. I'm going to pick you up. You're going to stay in Kurume, which is a small city. We're going to give you an apartment. And then we're going to teach you how to sell jewelries. Say, what the fuck? Okay, say, why not? And
Bingo.
so I did. And it was a beautiful experience, not only because I met amazing people. I leave Japan, which is an incredible country, even though I was struggling a bit uh, because of the way Japanese perceive life. Being an Italian, super, warm, super emotion driven. Japanese, with all the respect, they are very controlled with their emotions. So I was struggling a little bit to relate with locals. But beside that was an amazing experience and was the very first step that I say, wow, I got good skills as a salesperson, as a team leader, because I became a very good salesperson and I was a team leader. They make me as a team leader of a group of salespeople. And I've noticed as, wow, wherever I go, I can find my own community and I can survive, which is
Mhm.
something which is still giving me confidence, a lot of faith for the present and the future, that in some way, somehow, I always make it. And when I say I don't take all the credit because I know that I'm supported, from above as well. So I'm protected. I feel very blessed.
Beautiful. That remind me of what one thing that you mentioned to me, that you said you were very successful also as in the fashion industries for the big Italian brands. Was it Prada?
Yeah, oh, yeah, good memory. Yeah.
So how did you get into? So would you say that your experience in Japan selling, jewelry was a stepping stone for you to get into selling luxury products later on in Italy and become very successful with it?
Well, that's a good point because for sure it gave me confidence. So the connection that I create in Japan with this Israeli company, and I met one of my best friends now, and he's a kind of a mentor. It's an Israeli guy. Uh, when I finished the experience in Japan, I went back to the UK to finish my studies. And then out of the blue, this guy told me, it's called More, which means light in Hebrew. He says, Mauri, I'm opening a business, the same business in the States. Would you like to join? And I said, look, at the moment I finished my studies and I'm about to go to Colombia. So when I moved to Colombia, I went twice in the States, one in Washington, D.C., and Washington State, in Tacoma, and once in Portland, Oregon, to work for the same company in the States. And even there, we perform very well. We make very good money. So once I came back from Colombia, literally with a lot of cash, I was feeling like a king. After Colombia, I went back to Italy, and I was the time that I was totally destroyed emotionally, financially. I was broken, and I had to reinvent myself. And I moved to Venice because it was the most international place I could find nearby my hometown, Padova. And yes, I gave career CVs and resumes, and I got into the luxury industry. And it was an amazing journey because I started working for Fendi for 6 months, and I became, after 2 months, the first top seller of the boutique itself. I
Wow.
got an offer for Prada. I moved into Prada, and it was amazing. I was, in 3 months, the top seller of the boutique. The first year, the top seller Europe, and then for the 3 years in a row, the top seller worldwide for Prada, which gave me an opportunity to become a trainer, so to teach others
Hey, that's
how
beautiful.
to sell. And yeah, it's been a beautiful journey. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself and my skills, and then they open up uh, other opportunities for the other jobs that I've been doing. So
Beautiful. Now that is powerful. See, you be so good that you're promoted to being a trainer to teach others how to sell. Have you thought about doing the same thing here, working for the Prada, whatever, here in KL, or even train the local staff here?
actually, I did move from Italy to Malaysia because I was still working in the fashion industry to be a brand manager for a Swiss brand. And the
Mm,
project was amazing. This was in 2019, 29th of January 2019, I moved to Malaysia, but we've been working less than 1 year, then COVID came and destroyed all the
mm,
business. So it was another time, you see, another pattern. So start again from zero with all the insecurities to be out of Europe, because in Europe, as a European, with your Italian passport, wherever I go in Europe, I don't need visa. I can work in Portugal, in Germany, France, but in Malaysia, as you know, the policies for foreigners are very tough.
mhm.
But I felt that this is a place that I'm going to succeed, to become abundant, to heal, to be more harmonized with myself and so on. So I decided to stay. And thanks God, I got this opportunity to start to work for this university, which is actually, again, you see, it's all about education. I was a good a salesperson, and then once you receive the knowledge, you give it to others. So you train others to be good salespeople. Now I'm working in the university, so we support and facilitate others to improve their knowledge, their education, to have a better quality of living, to have a better salary, to have a better skills. So you see, at the end of the day, it's all about education. Is knowledge. We don't own knowledge. We're receiving it. We metabolizing it. We keep what we need, and then we give out to others so they can upskills themselves. That's the way I see life.
Beautiful. Wow, beautiful. I mean, you can definitely, given the very rich life you've been blessed with in terms of experience, you can write a few books. You should definitely start your own podcast. You know, I definitely want to, next time we meet in person, I want you to tell me all the stories, juicy stories from Japan, from Colombia, especially.
Okay. Yeah, they are better not here.
No, of
I will
course,
tell
of
you face
course.
to face.
No, but tell us about Colombia. How,
Wow.
how did you find Colombia when you went there?
Wow, Colombia. It took me 10 years to forgive about Colombia because can I pause a second and then I tell you about Colombia?
Wow, amazing. So tell us, how did you find Colombia? How was Colombia?
Yeah. Colombia has been a gift from the universe because at that time was 2000, 2001. Colombia was just getting out of a political situation. So it was a little bit more secure than it used to be in the 90s because Medellin, I was living in Medellin. So you got a
Wow.
capital, Bogota. Medellin is the second biggest city, which is on a big valley. And Medellin itself is on 1,500 meters on the sea level. So all around Medellin, you got these beautiful mountains. So in about half an hour by car, you can reach 2,000, 2,500 and the meters on the sea level. It's a beautiful environment. You got uh, parrots in the street, you got mango trees, plenty of flowers. Colombia, if I should describe it's like a beautiful rose. It smells amazing. It looks beautiful. But because of the thorns, if you handle it in the wrong way, you can really get hurt. So I felt a lot of empathy. I'm feeling a lot of empathy with Colombians. They are amazing people with a huge dignity. They still have a very strong the tribes, communities. So they're still carrying a lot of strong identity. And I feel very sorry because since young age, due to the passport, the Italian passport, I could travel the world, get into countries for free with a very little fee, and not basically having any trouble. While I was traveling at that time with my Colombian girlfriend, every single country we were flying in, she was always getting into trouble, searching on her. asking her how you come from Colombia, why you do have, why Colombia, what you carrying with you. So I understood how a piece of paper can really define your life. Just for the sake is a Colombian passport or a Canadian passport, Italian passport, your life could be completely different. So I always felt a lot of empathy. And I remember Colombians always telling me, Maurizio, welcome to Colombia. Colombia is not as people say. We're not all terrorists. We are not all cocaine dealers. We are beautiful people, and always justifying them. And I was feeling so much empathy for them because it's really unfair. And I go back again. What makes me feel unhappy? How a piece of paper can define your life. So Colombia for me has been an amazing journey where, as I mentioned, my ex-girlfriend, I moved to Colombia because of a lady. And she told me, Mauri, why don't you try to put yourself into modeling? At that time, there were very little foreigners. And so I did. And as a good networker by nature, I start to, introduce myself in the community of fashion, modeling, acting, and I met the right people. And those right people, they gave me opportunities, and that's why I was, working with one of the most, still the most famous menswear designer, which is called Lina Cantillo, and she offered me a job, no, not modeling only, but as a kind of how can I say in English, like a area manager. So I was managing the 3
Okay.
stores she has in the country.
Wow.
And well, I had a beautiful living. I was related with amazing friends and traveling, having a lot of good time, and really enjoying. So Colombia, it's a country that I really suggest to visit. It's really plenty of amazing people, and the country itself is, it's kissed by two oceans in the Caribbean Gulf, has mountains, has lakes, has everything. It's really a beautiful country to explore.
Beautiful. Wow. Amazing. So, one thing I always keep hearing from people that have been to Colombia is that you have to be very careful. Colombia is very dangerous in terms that it's going to steal your heart by the kindness of the people, that kind of danger. Did you feel the same way?
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Especially in South America, you know, the lobbies are very powerful,
Mm-hmm.
and in countries where, okay, democracy, in Europe, we say that there is democracy. I'm not that sure, but in countries with a very police state force, as happened in South America and Latin America, um, people, the humble people, they're always struggling because the rich ones, they can, with money, they can always do whatever they want. So there is a lot of exploitation, about people, and the normal people are so kind, as I mentioned before, so gentle. It's beautiful. They really, steal your heart. They really do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, listening to you and your very, to your fascinating life journey, I see a parallel with a little bit of my life because your life, just like my life, has all been about experiencing as many different things, doing different places, for example, you played rugby, you were involved in politics, you studied in the UK, and then you went to Japan, so backpacking to Japan, working as a salesperson for jewelry, and then that transitioned into working for the biggest fashion houses in the world, in Italy, becoming so good that you were promoted to being a sales trainer, and then you went to Colombia, working as a model. We haven't even touched the actor part yet. I mean, we could do several episodes just with that, and then all of that transition into Malaysia and the wonderful work you're doing now. So, wow. For me, this is what makes life so wonderful. I see life as a buffet. It's for us to try as like a beautiful 5-star Michelin restaurant, for us to try all the dishes. And by dish, I don't mean just the food, but I mean the experiences. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do strongly agree with you, and that's why when I met you, we had our beautiful conversations. We understand each other very well, and I want to share something with you. I told you about my experience with experiencing, better say, a past life regression.
Oh,
And
yeah.
before the past life regression, I had a numerology. So it means that they study your numbers, and it was absolutely accurate. And my numbers, and I'm pretty sure your numbers will say the same once you're gonna do with the experience. It says, though you should be okay in your life or experiencing totally different things, one to another one, without knowing where you are heading. And listen carefully, because if you think there has to be a massive faith that you're going on the right direction, because doing so many things you enjoy at the time, but then again you cannot define yourself. You say, who am I? I've been a salesperson, an actor, a model, now a professor, and etc., etc. So the number says, in your life you will get to a point that all those experiences, they're gonna merge all together, and in that very moment in time you will understand why you have been experiencing all of this, because in that moment in time you're gonna be the right person to do one thing and do it right. And I believe so. Once you told me, Mauri, podcasting has been changing my life, I believe that you got already to that point, even though you are a bit younger than me. You got to the point in time to say, I got something that now this is the guy that I'm gonna be. This is the guy that I am. So that moment in time, that with the same words, with the same power that you share with me, and God bless you in this journey, because you are really doing an amazing job, truly say by heart. That moment you say, okay, when introduce you to my friends, you say, yes, I'm writing a book, I'm a podcaster, I teach people on how to do and how to perform a good podcast. Now you feel the power of the guy was in China doing the coach trainer, football trainer, the guy in Hong Kong, the guy in Philippines, the guy in all the places you've been to.
Absolutely. Everything you do today, tomorrow, or you did in the previous days prepares you for what's next, for your next stage in life, and sometimes they see it in ways that seem like, wait, why I'm doing this? And then you understand the why in a few weeks, in a few months. All of that, just like you said, it perfectly prepares you, trains you like a training to be where you need to be at the next stage. So that's powerful. Thank you for sharing that. We haven't even talked about your acting part. So tell us a little bit. We can do an entire podcast, just me and you, and talking about each chapter of your life. We might do it in the future. So tell us briefly about your acting. How did you get into that? And what kind of acting were you doing?
Okay, wow. That's something that, for example, I never expected in my life, but everything started in Colombia, as I said, with the modeling part, that was quite succeeding. So once I moved to Colombia, from Italy to Malaysia, and on my spare time, I saw on Facebook, there was an advertisement. There was an English production for Netflix. It was a war movie, and they were looking for extras. And I said, wow, I got some time free. So I contact this lady, I still know an Iranian agent. And she told me, okay, send me some pictures. She told me, okay, you got a job. So I still remember the 25th of March. I was just 1 month into Malaysia, into the country. And I participate to this movie as an extra. And then I start to shake hands, meeting people, and understanding how was the dynamic to find more jobs like that, because it was fun, was quite well paid. And I was expressing myself. I feel very aligned in front of a camera to express myself. I feel very good. So long story short, I start, I meet the right people again. You see, that's another patterns, Immediately I meet the right people. I was the right guy, the right place. And I start to expand my network. And since then, I've been modeling in TV commercials. I've been acting in 3 Malaysian production, mainly action movies, which was a lot of fun, which gave me a lot of visibility. And now one of the things that I'm doing, let's say I'm well known now in the industry. So sometimes I work even as an agent. I mean, I know the client that needs some talents, and according to the client's needs, I source the talents and I get a commission out of it. So it's about networking. And you know what I think, Lorenzo? I'm not worried about doing the right thing, but I try to do the things right. And I used to suffer a lot while I was seeing that I was not sometimes accepted by other persons, even though trying to be, and I used to be a very much a people pleaser, because being a people pleaser is fear-based, not to be accepted. So in order to be accepted, you try to be a people pleaser. Now, what I'm learning is to be true to myself, always to be a gentleman, always to have good manners, but stands for my rights, stands for and put boundaries. And here in Malaysia, as you mentioned while opening the interview, the podcast, in 4 years, I'm very proud of the reputation without being slave of the fear of my reputation, but I build up a reputation of honesty, of integrity. So while I'm working with people and either I'm asking for support or I give support, I'm always well accepted because I'm a big giver. Sometimes I've been asking for help as well to get some jobs. So it's all about the relationship you live with people because for me it's important that is the way that we make feel people. We are here to support each other, not to push one down each other. And I believe that most of the people can resonate with me on this. And it happened. It's happening. Most likely, it will happen that somebody can misperceive my intentions. Before, I was very sad to say, why? You don't receive my goodwill. At this stage, I say, okay, you might not be ready to receive my good intention. I forgive you, my friend. I forgive you if in some way I've been hurting you, and I'm okay with it. So the acting and modeling now, it's a beautiful way of expressing myself, of creating more network. Most of my friends, I met them during these jobs, and it's a way of feeling part of a community and be active, not only of taking from this community, but to giving back to the community as well.
Beautiful. Wow. You got to send me the links to some of the movies you played, and I would definitely want to watch those.
Yeah, of course. I got plenty of videos to share.
Beautiful. Awesome. Awesome. Wow. Listen, I've been blessed to have talked with over 250, 230, whatever number of people on my podcast for the past 2.5 years. And I have to say, you're probably one of the top 5 most interesting, most fascinating people I've met, because the story you have is absolutely wow stuff. And again, this is not a compliment. This is an observation. And I'm very glad and blessed that we connected. I can see that we will do, this is going to be a beautiful friendship, but also we can probably do some great collaborations together because we're perfectly in line. And this is what I do as well. I help good people with beautiful hearts and powerful messages to win. And you're one of the perfect examples of that. So keep doing what you're doing. You're amazing. And let's move forward with this. We're almost done here. Let's see. Wow, what a powerful, captivating, inspiring story you have, my friend. So, but now let's move forward. Let's talk now about what you're doing now. What's your business? What's your impact? Tell us about what Maurizio is doing at this stage, in this chapter of his life here currently in beautiful Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia.
Wow. A few things. So one of my main business is to be the marketing manager for this French private online university, which is basically pure business development. And I'm a consultant for a Web3 company, which basically what we do, we translate any kind of business into blockchain. So we facilitate either individuals or companies to work in the metaverse. We can tokenize a business, we can create cryptocurrencies, we can create exchanges, we can create everything, video games, applications. So it's a beautiful environment because I firmly believe that we have to be present in the moment, and we still have to be connected with younger generation and elders. So the wisdom of the elders and the power, the enthusiasm, the creativity of the younger people. So I try. I'm embracing new technologies, not from the tech side, because I won't consider myself a tech person, but I'm considering myself, as I said, a curious person. So blockchain, for example, is a revolutionary technology which is changing in a subtle way, in a silent way, the world. and even cryptocurrencies as well. I'm a big believer in the technology, in the purpose, and I do invest on them. And it's amazing because it's a very inclusive environment. Cryptocurrencies has been literally, of course, some people lose money, but there are thousands of stories of very humble people that did change their life suddenly in a few weeks due to cryptocurrencies. So it's giving an opportunity to everyone without the need of having big capitals to invest at the first to improve their life financially. But something that I would love to share with you quickly, it is something which is really stands as a big spot in my life, in my heart, place in my life. It is the men's circle. So since 7 months, I am the facilitator here in Kuala Lumpur of a beautiful, amazing group of guys. It's called the Sacred Men's Circle. So once a month, we find ourselves at the My Student Cafe, which is an holistic place here in Kuala Lumpur city center. And long story short, we sit on a circle and we talk with a vulnerability about what we are going through in life. Sometimes we have topics, sometimes it's an open discussion, open conversation. And it's a beautiful journey, Lorenzo. I would say, one of the most beautiful things it is happening in my life. It is one of the ways that I'm giving back to the community. It is holding space for this bunch of guys with any kind of discrimination. You can be gay, yellow, brown, orange, purple. We don't care whatever you do in life, as long as you got the courage to come, join the group, speak from your heart, being able to be courageous to share what you're going through, could be something positive or negative, doesn't matter, and become a good listener, because in the group itself, we are not there to give solutions, but we are just there to listen and understand and be compassionate and not judgmental with somebody else's story. And it's beautiful, the amount of love I'm receiving, especially from the girlfriends or partners or wives of the guys coming, because while you join the men's circle, you become a better communicator, you become more honest with yourself, you become more courageous, so you open up and you understand that being vulnerable is not a weakness. Being vulnerable, it's a part of the journey, and once we release our burdens, speaking out them out, it's a very liberating process, and you leave room to say, okay, I was able to talk about this. Now I feel less lonely because I've seen that the guy next to me, fucking hell, he looks totally different. He comes from a different country, but he's going through the same. So we feel less lonely. And as men, we are born as providers. So even our ancestors, everybody has been teaching us to keep things in ourselves. We cannot cry. We cannot open up. We actually unlearn this, and we are learning to be more open, and it's an amazing journey, really. And whoever is going to watch the podcast back in your own country, if you are a man, you want really to go through a powerful healing process, I suggest you to reach out to your nearest men's circle, and it will really support you in your journey.
Beautiful, and I will add to that I had the pleasure of attending one of your events last week. Thank you for inviting me. It was very beautiful. I got to learn the stories of a good dozen men who completely, shared the stories without holding back, and just like you said, being vulnerable was very beautiful to see, because society teaches us, especially us as men, that we should not be vulnerable. We should not share our feelings. We should not do that. But seeing these men basically spilling out the beans about what they're going through, what's holding them back. For you, the topic was very powerful, which was talk about the relationship between you and your parents and what was holding you back in that effect. So learning from other people, especially hearing these stories, quite a lot of them I could personally relate with them, because a lot of what they were going, I also went through them, some of them, and that was very powerful to say, I'm not alone, even though I've never met these guys. Just like you said, they come from total different backgrounds and all that, but we all have one common thing. So that was beautiful. Keep doing that. That's beautiful. That is really, like, for the right person, it can be even transformational. That can really transform them, show them the path, get them out of whatever rut they may be in. So that was beautiful. Now, how did you get into that?
Oh, interesting. Long ago, last year, a very good friend of mine that actually I need to introduce you. She's amazing. She's
Please.
Brazilian.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow, even better.
she's oh fuck, I forgot. Okay.
So
And
Brazil de coração. My
I
heart is
now
Brazilian,
I
you know.
know you little,
You
I know
know.
you naughty boy. And she told me, Mauri, why don't you facilitate a men's circle? I think you're gonna be the right guy. And these things resonate in my mind. But again, my ego came up. And I was saying, oh, come on, Mauri, who's going to come? You know, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. And I had the courage to face my ego. And I said, okay, okay, thanks for letting me know, but let me give it a try. And the right time came. It's a bit with you, the same things with the podcast. Um, you see, once more, um, it is not our time. I would say it's a divine time. Once we are, it's very important for us to keep the direction, to have the vision of the person, the human being we are co-creating. And once you got that vision, then the opportunities, the right opportunities comes to support that journey. So, and that's why I believe we gotta be curious. You know, we gotta be honest and say, what do I like to do? Am I being gifting the gift that I have is surely to be a good connector, a good networker, and to leverage a bit of leadership. So I use those three things in the men's circle. So that's why I started. It's been suggested to me. I metabolize the idea. I win over the ego and my insecurities. I say, okay, fucking hell, let's do it. And I started. And I remember the first one, I was so anxious, say, wow, what am I gonna do? All these guys are coming for me, and the first time they show up like in 10 guys, and everybody was surprised because in Malaysia, you know, being a Muslim country, most of the people they don't feel very easy to come. But for some X reason, the universe is supporting in every session. It's getting better and better. So it's a beautiful journey of gratitude, really, to have this opportunity to be the facilitator of the group.
Beautiful, absolutely. You know, you do this in a way to help other people grow, to help them overcome whatever is holding them back, to help them to go to the next level. So share with us an example of the most remarkable transformation you've seen from one of the guys that have been coming to your event, or someone that you helped by opening up to help them overcome what it was holding. Share with us an example of the most remarkable transformation you've seen from one of
Oh,
your
wow.
attendees.
One of the guys, which he was not there when you came. So, of course, I won't disclose, but I just stay
Yes.
generic. One of the guy basically joined the group, and it took him 3 or 4 sessions before to open up. And privately, I've been coaching him, let's say, a little bit, because he got sexually abused when he was,
Oh
I
no.
think, yeah, from one of the relatives. And for him, is yeah, man, fucking hardcore stuff. And nothing. He had the courage to speak out this. And since then, is the guy is going through an amazing journey, because he told me, Mauri, I've been through therapies and this and that, but I never had the courage to share this with other people. And he shared it in the group. And it was amazing, not only to see this guy, he like releasing this, but to see the other guys that they've been amazing. Just look at him, listening to him. You know, we used to do this. We don't give solution, but once we resonate with somebody else's stories, we do this, you know, to say, I feel you, brother. And everybody was there close to him. And once the circle finished, nobody says nothing, but most of the guys went to him and they hugged him. So, and I'm saying this with goosebumps. And those are the
Yeah.
moments when, to reply to you, my soul feel happiness. When I see strangers empathize with one of each other, that is something that I cannot describe with the word, but it makes me feel so much love, so much being part of the community. For the community, I mean the entire world, and breaking the sense of separation between people. This is something amazing. And as you are doing with your podcast, as I'm doing with the men's circle, or in my daily basis, or the interviews that I do, is to break the sense of separation between people. What you are doing, man, it's just amazing. You are sharing stories of individuals, sharing that their struggles, sharing that their journey, that even though someone succeed in their own industry, in order to get to that stage, they're going through a lot of a hell of situations. So the audience can see in that person, oh my gosh, I see Lorenzo. I saw he was everything perfect in his life. While Lorenzo is sharing his struggles, you break the sense of separation. So people say, fucking hell, if Lorenzo made it with the same insecurities that I have, it is possible to overcome those insecurities. So unconsciously or consciously, you are sharing the wisdom that you receive, and others are going to get inspired by it. And we're not looking for big numbers. If in, I don't know, 10 years of Men's Circle, I can support one of these guys to be more at peace with themselves, that is already an amazing result. It's not numbers. It's the way we make feel people and we support others. And doing so, you heal yourself and you heal others. So it's a giving always precedes receiving. It's a flow of energy. You give, you receive, you give, you receive. We have just to learn in which degree it's healthy to give, and to learn how to receive. Because sometimes the big givers, they struggle to receive. So we have to learn even how to receive things.
Totally beautiful. First of all, thank you for the kind words. Really mean the world for me. Thank you. I appreciate it, brother. And yes, you're absolutely right. It's all about, the more you help, the more you get back. That's one of the universal rules. Whatever you put in, especially if it's doing good, you get back not twice, but 10 times more. So keep doing what you're doing. You're doing amazing. And when is your next event, by the way?
The next one is going to be on the 11th, Thursday. Let me check quickly. Thursday, the 11th of April, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
Sorry, the 13th of April.
Oh, unfortunately, I won't be here for that one. Okay. But
yeah, but we're going to wait you once you come back to
the
heaven of Kuala Lumpur.
You know what you should do? You should also stream that live.
Yes, I'm planning actually to do, because physical sessions are beautiful. I'm planning, I might ask you some tips to do that. I would like to do maybe online, so I can do it even internationally wise,
If you do it at 7 o'clock, there will be like 7 a.m. for me, but when I'm back home in Canada. But listen, for this, I will definitely wake up for that, because this was a beautiful, beautiful experience, beautiful groups of men. So yes, so let me know if you do that for next one. If not, when I'm back in KL later this year, we'll definitely be attending all of your events. All right.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure of mine. Now let's wrap this up. And to finish, I want to ask you a series of, once again, rapid fire short answers about advices. Ready?
Yes.
All right. So far, Maurizio, tell us, what's been the best piece of advice that you've received in your life?
Follow your heart.
Love that. What's the worst piece of advice you've received so far?
You are a person that you're not able to bring until the end your things, and that has been hurting me a lot.
Beautiful. Now, imagine that you were blessed with a time machine. You can go back in time and sit face to face with an 18-year-old Maurizio. What's the number one piece of advice you would give to him, knowing all that you know now?
Sorry, I lost the question.
So imagine that you had a time machine and you can go back in time and sit face to face with an 18-year-old Maurizio. What's the number one piece of advice you would give to him, knowing all that you know now?
Wow, it's something that thanks for the question. You are worth it, and you deserve all the good, and there are endless opportunities in this beautiful world, and you deserve them all, and you are worth it to receive them.
Beautiful. Love that. Now, do you have your own podcast yet?
As you know, I do interviews, but a proper podcast like yours, not really, but it's close. I do interviews, but online interviews.
Okay.
IG Live.
All right. So imagine that today on your interviews, you're interviewing the most special person in the world, and that is yourself. So you're interviewing yourself. What's the first question that you want to ask yourself? What's the first question that comes to your mind?
What would you say if you have the entire worldwide population watching you and you have 30 seconds to express a message?
Wow, that's the most beautiful one I've heard so far. So, and what would be your message? I'm not going to let you escape that.
Well, my message will be try as much as we can not to judge ourselves and others. Try to be, again, I will never get tired to say that, compassionate and understanding that we are going through the same, and to be close to one of each other and to be supportive to one of each other. Because we are all here to find, to release traumas and to release limitations. So why not to do it together?
You know, that's so powerful, so beautiful. I just wrote this down. I'm going to borrow this question. I'm going to ask it on my podcast. So thank you for that. That's a beautiful
Man, you can
question.
use it anytime.
Awesome. Now, the last question I will ask you, and that's my favorite question. What's the smallest thing you've done in your life so far that has had the greatest, deepest, positive impact? And by small, I don't mean something small. I mean the one thing. For me, for example, has been starting my podcast. What about you, Maurizio?
Wow. At the moment, I would say the men's circle, because the men's
Oh, wow.
circle is representing the billions of hours sitting with myself, be desperate, be extremely successful, be lost, be super confident. I'm facilitating this group because at this stage, because all the up and downs I went through, the men's circle, I would say. The men's circle, I believe, is going to take me somewhere, somehow, that I have no clue at the moment, but it's going to open doors.
Absolutely. Just embrace it, because by helping these people, these guys, you're basically helping them go to the next level. You're in the process, you're building incredible friendships. So that comes back to what I'm doing. For me, the most rewarding aspect of business first is the transformation, the impact you're having in the lives of people. And number two, the wonderful friendships and relationships you build in the process. The money is icing on the cake. The money is not the cake. It's icing, but because it's all about transformation and impact on the people and the beautiful friendships you build. So that's beautiful. Thank you for that. And if someone wants to connect with you, what's the best way to do so?
Okay, so I would say the best way is through Instagram. It's at the.Mauri, Mauri, the Mauri, with dots in between THE and Mauri, the Mauri.
I will put that in the show notes. Any link you want me to share with my audience, you can send that to me and I will put it in the show notes.
I will.
All right. Listen, brother, absolute pleasure, honor, blast having you on this podcast and getting to know you. I knew that you had a powerful story, but wow, my God, we have a lot of topics to talk to next time we meet in person, because some of the stories I've shared would be better off for in person. But seriously, you have been blessed to have an incredible story. You know, one thing I learned into my life, just one last thing I want to say. We all go through a fair share of hard time, challenges, heartbreaks, tragedies. Sure, there hurt a lot when we go through them, but then they are there for us to grow, to go to the next level. Then they become our story. Then our story becomes our gift. Then our gift becomes our responsibility, our duty to share it with others. Because from my understanding, one of the main reasons we are here is to overcome, because life is a school, to learn these lessons, to become better persons ourselves. But if all we did was just to learn these lessons for ourselves and become a better person, we would only be using 5% of the true potential. The other 95% is sharing them with others so that others can benefit from them. Because when we help others, we all collectively rise. Just like when the sea rises, the tide, it brings everything up, whether it's a small pebble or whether it's a massive boat. It doesn't matter. Everybody gets elevated. Same thing here. And you, my friend, my brother, you've been blessed with an incredible journey, incredible stories, incredible lessons and gifts. And now you have a very big responsibility in front of you on your shoulders to take those gifts, to share them with others. And you are you definitely are the right person to that. So I salute you. You're a true leader with a heart. Keep shining your light. Keep blessing the world with your presence, with your impact, with your work, with your anything you do, with your smile, with your presence. Stay safe. Stay awesome. God bless you. God bless you, brother. Talk to you soon. Arrivederci. Ciao.
Ciao, arrivederci. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Very welcome. Pleasure's all mine. Thank you. Take care. Bye.